Hello guys, welcome back. So this is our 31st of DevOps Meetup for, I mean, so far, like we're having like already 31st. I think half of it probably like we're doing it online and we can't see face to face yet. But at the same time, I think what the advantage of being online is we're able to get speakers around the world. So that's a good stuff, right? So we're able to get people from around the world. So I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes so people can start joining in, and then I will start uh with the Buzzcorner first as usual, and then I'm gonna invite a speaker later on after the Buzzcorner itself. So today's we'll be having Rajalakshmi. She's a director for product manager at Zoho. Her title will be like achieving observability in your API stack. So that's what she's gonna do. So if you have any questions or what, you can just drop in the comment side, and then we're happy to take out the questions after the talk itself. And and also like I think since we're doing like towards now we are opening up a bit, and hopefully you guys are everyone's like vaccinated now. So and going out there, be safe, and don't like maintain your SOP and follow the SOP. Don't like take it for granted. And if you guys have any feedback or you want guys want to be speaker or what, right, please do reach out to us. So we're happy to have you guys uh and we have a further discussion on that lah. So I think as we move on, I think more talks, meetups will be done in online. So I looking at this rate, probably like next year, early next year, we probably like start to back to the physical meetup, and if things goes well, that should. So it all depends, right? And so I think we have about like 2-3 minutes again. Okay. And other than that, I think if you guys have any interesting to start stuff to share, feel free to share in Buzzcorner in our Slack channel as well. I think we are, and other than that, we're also planning a couple of things down the road, right? So hopefully, like I can announce it for you guys soon. What we plan to do, how we plan to integrate, and how we're centralizing certain, I mean, the tech community in Malaysia itself, and how we can give back to the community and all that lah. And if you want to be part of it, also you can reach out to me, mainly, right? And other than that, it's pretty much I'm done like trying to think what I guess I can talk while waiting for people to start to join. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna start with the meetup itself. So we're gonna start with the bus corner and like go through the entire thing, the usual stuff. All right. So let's get started. So first of all, welcome and thanks to Zoho, and I think they have a promo code as well later on. Like you can sign up, get a free, 200 about like 234 free credit. So you can use your stuff and everything. I think if you guys still on the Wave apps, it's no longer available in Malaysia. So if you they actually suggest you to move to Zoho. So this will be a good opportunity for you guys to explore around Zoho as well at the moment, right? Okay, continue with the community itself. Like so, basically the community itself revolves around at the engineers.my. So that's the Slack channel. So come join the Slack channel and just hang around, ask any question, just help support, and people were happy to answer. That's where we hang around, right? That's we talk, and especially in current scene where everything is online, that's where we end up spending most of the time. Even like movie club and book club, all that is there. So just find a relevant channel that you guys feel like to be part of it, and just feel free to hang around lah. All right. And having said that, we also have other meetups. So like KLJS, Junior Dev. Junior Dev actually had recently another one meetup, which went very well. I think there's one more that I'm trying to get with a friend as well for the meetup for Junior Dev and KLJS. And I mean, to have a conversation, like I think it's from Indonesia, so I'll probably just be exciting one for you guys to look out as well. And also, if not mistaken, if you check the calendar, there's a bar camp happening this Saturday. So you want to check out and can submit your talk as well for bar camp. So feel free to join that one as well, and see how it goes. So bar camp is an exciting one. So I think if you haven't been to any like conference for a while, you just want to test it out. I think that's a good place for you guys to go check it out. And as usual, no minimum by sharing, agree to disagree. Everyone have their opinion, right? So I don't think that anyone is wrong, but it's respect each other's opinion and be able to agree to and disagree. Be participative, be engaged. Let us know. And any questions, anything you like to share, probably you know better or something you like to share. Just feel free to just drop in the comments so that everyone can know and can learn as well from each other. And also thanks to the sponsors as well and the volunteers. And since this is an online edition, we're still having the Buzzcorner Q&A as well. You don't have to mute yourself because you're using the online one, so it's like it's you automatically mute everyone literally except for the comments. So yep, and as give us feedback, and so we can improve it as we go on and make it better for you guys. If you got any topic, any interesting topic or stuff that you like uh to know, and let me know as well. Just reach out lah. So I think you can pretty much find me on LinkedIn or the Slack channel as well. Uh just find for Kevin Rush and you can find it. So it should be fine for me. And if no questions, I'm gonna straight jump to the bus corner. So if not, feel free to you can catch up with me later as well. Yes, and let me know lah if anything, any discussion or anything stuff you want to reach out and talk about or give feedback or you guys want to volunteer as a speaker. All right, and moving forward with the jobs. So this time we found one jobs, which is a stash away. So if you go to stash away, they were sharing on the LinkedIn as well. So they're actually hiring a lot of vacancy. So you probably want to check it out as well. From backend, front end, full stack, mobile engineer, engineering manager, I think software architect as well. So you guys can check out their website or just just search for it on the LinkedIn. I think the head of HR or some was sharing it as well. So I think they offer good perks and everything. So probably you guys want to check it out as well. Hopefully they will able to like match the CoinGecko's salary like what they posted, right? Okay, having said that, let's start with the bus corner. I think after being a quiet few months with the bus corner, I think this time we have a very exciting news. So a lot of stuff exciting going on the tech side. So let's start with it. First one itself with the good news, which is the Windows 11 is available on October 5. So prepare anything that you guys need to upgrade. But I think if you're on the enterprise version of it or companies of Windows, where you guys need to wait for them to send an update, right? That's probably take a longer down the road lah. But if your personal one, I think you pretty much October 5 ready for it and can start trying out lah. Hopefully no 0 day bugs or what, right? And having said that, moving on to the next one is the Razer itself. So apparently your Razer have a bug where you can automatically become a Windows 10 admin just by plugging in a mouse. So I don't know how this happened, but this is something that Bleeping Computer was posted as one of the news. So you can, if you're interested to know further about this, you can go check out the link. And yep, and also having the happy news, now we have the bad news. So apparently there's a Power Apps data breach. So basically it's like 38 million people which exposed to a breach. So this is according to the Wired, right? So and also Daily Mail actually quoted upon based on that. And I think this is pretty bad, but I think this already covered. They've been I think lately Microsoft, not mistaken, Microsoft have been like sending a lot of patches and like a lot of security vulnerability that updates. So if you haven't update, go and update. So there's a lot of updates that Microsoft is sending out, which is really important for you guys to update lah. And I think next one is also another data leak. So I can guarantee you this is not the end of the data leak in this bus corner. So there's still few more data leaks I'll be sharing as well. So this one happened with the passport info and hardcare data. So I think something like the test and trace for travelers. So apparently it was exposed on open server, and the photo is basically someone. I mean the people who was arrested lah for that. And then in other news, we have Grafana, if you like a visualization for especially for technical people. So secure back Grafana is actually reached 38 30 sorry 3 billion valuation. So this is like a lot of money, right? And you never thought like Grafana is like you guys are using open source. Now they're raising money and stuff, right? So yeah, now you know who's main funder for the Grafana. So and next one is from Cloudflare. So basically, they are announcing WAF for Linux and proxy for the proxy mode. So can check it. Sorry, I think you can just can check it out as well. So this is where it comes with the ability to run as a local proxy as well. So that's something that you probably want to watch out as well, right? And next one is also where Google, and also if you know about SRE, if you're into SRE, right? So Google Cloud, I mean Google itself like very pioneer and very front line for the SRE itself. So you have like the books and for SRE and everything. So and now they have a new website which is very informed, like one stop place for everything from white paper, products, videos, and yeah, SRE sharing stuff about the journey, everything. So if you're just starting out with SRE or interested to know what is SRE about, I can say it's different than DevOps. So go check it out so you guys know one better than that. And again, Lockbit. So I think the previous meetup we actually mentioned that Lockbit gang was with the Essential side, but Essential mentioned that there was no impact on their side. But now this time, Lockbit came back again with the Bangkok Airways airline. So with the customer data, so the leakage. I think the leakage was actually released as well the breach, and later on. Yep. So I think no data is safe anyway, I guess nowadays. And as usual, we need to, as being a Malaysian, we need to take credit of wherever our Malaysian are around the world, right? So apparently, our Malaysian born in New Zealand, which is Alan Chew. So basically have the I mean came up with the New Zealand version of the Malaysia lah. So which is I believe is better than our Malaysia as well. So and it's such something I think putting them because I'm Malaysian and as usual Malaysian we need to tumpang glamour a bit, right? So that's how I'm sharing that. And other than that on the side is the immediate basically buying over my MailChimp for 10 billion dollar. You never knew that MailChimp is like cost about like 10 billion now, right? So especially for marketing emails and stuff. So yeah, having said that, next one we have basically a outage with first with the power users for Microsoft OneDrive. I mean, wait, sorry. That basically with the AWS Tokyo, basically stick down the bank all the important because this is direct connect. So direct connect is usually used by very important. It's supposed to be reliable, most reliable thing connection. So that is people. That's why the banking and the share tradings and the shares and telcos will be using that mainly, right? But it went down in Tokyo, so it's like and went down for 6 hours. So it's like a chaos. And then on the right is basically the power users of Microsoft OneDrive. Basically what happened here is like when if you have like a more than 1 terabyte storage, somehow you will be all the file become like read only files. So that's quite interesting bug. So that we want you to check out as well. The link is attached. I mean it's there, so you can go check out read yourself as well. And moving on next to the next one, this is an interesting one from the Straits Times from Singapore. Basically, what happened is the news is basically of the new Essential had a partner with the Facebook lah. So if you're not aware of it, like Facebook or all the big companies that are tech companies or social media companies, they actually have a lot of people, hire a lot of people around the world. Other than their so-called AI, they also have manual people actually go through your posting and videos like YouTube videos and all that, and manually like whatever flag they actually sort it out manually and stuff. So I heard about like in Philippines, like some Philippines, they mostly in the Philippines, so they have like people have to watch like people, like very cruel videos, and then they have to watch that over and over, and they have to take it down. It's kind of like impacting them as well. So Essential is apparently is now was doing it previously, so and they're getting paid like 627 million per year. That's a lot of money. So and next one is I think it's important. This is very important for whoever like cares about privacy and very on like getting anonymous. I mean, make sure your data and everything start. I think Proton Mail is used by mainly by reporters and people reporters around the world for to share anonymous data or any their source and stuff like that, right? So apparently the Proton Mail shared disclose the IP address of the activists to the authorities. This in Switzerland because I think the Switzerland whoever the authority because they are based in Switzerland. So if Switzerland feels like want to share, they apparently shared to it. So they did that for in this case. So it's not safe after all, right? And then moving on to the next one is the New Zealand Bank and Post Office where had a cyber attack. And I can tell you also this is not the last cyber attack you were hearing in this Buzzcorner. So they basically were betting with the cyber attack and but I think they had a good monitoring system, the team and everything. So they had a third team coming out and try to get it up and running, make sure everything is fine and get back to normal lah. So based on the backup and everything. So I think they did a good job over there with that. So the outage wasn't that long due to the cyber attack actually. And then Microsoft also is giving warning, basically saying that some of the Asia resources have allowed access to their data. So I'm not sure whether this is related to another access as well. Basically, if your container, their container is like can be accessed, somehow can be on Azure can be accessed between two different containers as well somehow. But this was very it was highlighted by Palo Alto. So they were highlighting that as well. And having said that, which is the good news, another things, COVID now, the moh.gov has been launched. Basically, a better version, like a good version of the realization of data. The team is done for free. I think one of the team is I think Lim, and another is Henry Lim as well, and then Shang. So some of them. So you can check it out. If you how want to check is COVID now moh.gov.my/about. So they did a good job trying to like get this and make it very accessible, readable in a very short amount of time. Together with the MOH team as well. So and now we have one of the good data as a complement by the Edward from the one of the head of data from our world in data. So which is he's doing what he's doing is like getting all the data around the world for the COVID, and that's what he's doing now lah. So you can check him check him out as well. So it's good that now Malaysia is like one of like leading pioneer for the data, open data for COVID side reporting. But of course, we need more granular data, more specific data as well. So that's what the complaints we're hearing from the GitHub issues being raised, right? And having said that, another one is from HITV Sat News, which is the Attention conference. It's been under a heavy attack. So US Cybercom has like given like warning to everyone. I think it's been going on for a couple of weeks. So they like inform everyone, make sure it's like you update. This is very like large scale people actually exporting it. This campaign, there's actually like a special campaign trying to leverage on the conference, right? So I think if you haven't updated, make sure you update it because it's they're actually doing it. I mean, they literally like trying to get through the conference and your data access your account and stuff like that, exploiting the exploit. And as usual, now the next one is the CIB. I think pretty much nowadays, CIB is going down as like it's becoming more normal, I guess. So they went down and major downtime, even the ATM, CDM, everything was like down. But soon later it came up after a couple of hours lah. So yeah, I think this is pretty much used to it. I think the CIB users are pretty much used to this anyway, right? So and next one is a cyber criminals. So they created a rope cobalt strike Linux. So this is a new malware strain that's been going on. And if you have the tools, apparently some of the tools are not detecting, but I realized that we're using the better version of the some of the paid version like tools, you're able to detect it. So basically you need to have the right tool, I guess, for this one. And as usual, Exabyte, one of the biggest Malaysian one. I don't know why, but this didn't go well. I mean, not a lot of people were aware of this, but Exabyte actually had a ransomware attack, and they issued a statement on this on the 18th September, which happened for the ransomware, and they have to recover from the backup and everything to resolve. So they actually took quite some amount of time to recover and everything from the ransomware attack. And then the next one is actually the Microsoft warning of the wide scale pushing as a service. So we have a function as a service, infrastructure as a service, everything as a service, software as a service. Now we also have for cyber criminals to have a phishing as a service operation. So if you look at the diagram, actually it's making sense. It makes sense and like quite straightforward to do. And you're wondering why you didn't do it, right? But yeah, of course. But this is a very it's not a good malicious. It's a malicious thing. So this means what is going on. I think if you want to know more, you can Google bulletproofing, and you will know more about this as well, phishing activities. And today's one, I think this is the hot news for today, where my sad thing about this is basically our data is only worth about 35,000. So if you're not aware of it, what happened is they had a My Identity. My Identity is one of the basically one of the team team organization where it's supposed to like be the middle person or the central person for all the API from all the JPN, LHTN revenue or everyone, all the other SPR, all that in one single, right, for the API, everything. But somehow it's like someone was found to selling the data on the Loyat forum today for 35,000. And so my question is like, why is it only 35, right? So I think if you're Malaysian, I think if you're on a tag, if you're in the right group as well, you probably know that this database is like it's already like available public most of the places already. So if you know where to look for it, you can find it. So I don't know. I mean that's what's going on now, right? So yeah, so that's part of it lah. And FYI, LHTN already issued a statement saying that it's not from them. So just to update you guys. on that part. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So, but I'm sure you guys smart enough to know what it is lah. So yeah. Any questions? I think this is a quite long one for the Buzzcorner, but I think it's a very good, interesting Buzzcorner for this time. And having said, if you know question in the comments, I will check out later and I will bring up and we'll answer it. If not, I'm going to just bring up the speakers, which we Rajalakshmi. So she's going to talk about achieving observability in your API stack, based on the strategies and everything. So if you know about it, observability is one of the good things about to have in your tech stack as well, right? So this is focusing more on the API side, especially when like API bottleneck, all that is coming out, right? And sometimes you're complaining about your backend, your DB, bot, and everything, but your API is exposed to public as well. All that, like how, but you need to know this, see how your API works. So this is where the observability comes in. So I think without any wasting the time, so I'm going to invite her. So hello, how are you? You're ready for it?
Hi, Devan.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Yep.
And
Good to see you too.
hello,
So
hello everyone. So, actually, a very nice list of discussions or the points that you brought up in the bus corner. It was very fascinating. I'm going to go have a look at all of them again. And if you
yep.
see, at least half of them are about privacy, security, data breach. Looks scary.
Yep. Yes, very, very scary, right? Even if today's one is about our national identity registration. Basically, our data is out. So as a Malaysian, you know your data is out. Your religion, your ethnicity, your address, all that name. So it was lit. And it's actually back to your topic of like API being open. So
Yeah.
that's the. So I think yeah. So I'm gonna leave it to you, and I will join you back after that later on for the question side. So all
Sure.
yours. See you later.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. So happy to be part of the virtual meetup, DevOps meetup, uh, for the second time again. I think we did one last year around September, is what I remember doing around on the topic complexity and monitoring. So this time it's going to be a different topic. It's about your API stack. They even gave a quite a short intro of what it will be and why how APIs are important and what we need to know about achieving observability in your API stack when you do product development, particularly in the cloud. So let's quickly get started. So this is going to be 35 to 40-minute presentation. Feel free to post your questions in the comment section. I've shared a different screen and I'm on that different screen. So I don't know what's happening behind in the comments box. I'll come back and I'll try to answer all of the questions after the presentation. So the topics that we will be covering today are roughly about because API is the focus. So evolution of API from how it was 20 years ago when I, as a programmer, started my software development journey to where it is today, and then about API stack in your cloud architecture. What are the different layers that are there? Importance of API. I'll not spend much time there because all of us know that it is very important to have APIs. Rather, I will try to spend more time on what is that is crucial in your API stack. When you talk about observability, what do you mean by observability? Because there is always this observability versus monitoring. What does each mean and what you have to look for in your system? About the pillars of observability, and with respect to the pillars of observability, how can you achieve them for your APIs? Because APIs form the crucial layer. When I talk about it, I'll also be talking about the same. That's very important for your product development. So the full focus will be on APIs and the achieving observability in your API stack. A quick intro. I'll hardly spend some 5 minutes on each of this topic. I'll try to wind it up in 35 to 40 minutes. So quick intro on the evolution of API itself. So typically, if you take 20 years, 25 years ago, I've been in the industry for 22 years now in Zoho, at Zoho, and I started as a software developer to director of product management today. So if you take a typical client server architecture, the connecting part is the API. The connecting tissue is the API. So if you take that, it used to be a simple client server architecture where you have a server that resides in your physical premise in one corner of your office, and you use even the client is another machine that you use to connect, and you use API. There will be some form of API or the other through which you connect and get the data. That's a typical client server architecture some 22 years ago. With Web 2.0, Web 2.0 started picking up in 2005 timeframe when cloud started picking up. When that technology picking up, you can have your server component anywhere across, and you can connect clients using the internet from across the globe. So that's again using API, and that was a transformation. When we talk about that evolution of Web 1.0 to Web 2.0 is the typical time frame where the API itself got transferred from where we used to have SOAP APIs to REST APIs. There are a lot of pros, cons, advantages, disadvantages of both SOAP and REST, but pretty much with cloud picking up from what it used to be, you write individual components and use only specific protocols for your APIs as defined in SOAP. It got transferred to a RESTful protocol. You can have some generic methods and you can pass on arguments and try to get all the relevant data that you want in any format, not specified to a particular format of just XML. It can be any format. You can have it in JSON, you can have it in plain text, can be anything. So that is the transformation that also happened along with Web 2.0 almost when cloud started picking up 16 years ago. Continuing on that journey, if you could see, it's not that everything moved to the cloud. Even though we say that when we say that the cloud technology started picking up, people started, there were providers around it. There were public cloud providers around which you can make use of them as service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and start using them for your application development. There were a lot of public cloud servers that started picking up, but everything did not move to the cloud. There are still, even today, it's only the hybrid model that is prevalent. There are still some portion which people say that no, they cannot move it to the cloud, they want to have it on premise. There could be any number of reasons for that, and one of the major reason could even be security. There are still some banking systems or some military software that wants to reside only within the physical premise, but pretty much majority is adopting cloud, and there are cases where there are mix and match. There is some portion in on premise, some portion in the cloud. So the hybrid is what is still in prevalent, and all of this, the intermediate connecting layer is API. So if you have to put this transformation in another formation, what used to be a monolith architecture where you had your business logic, your data accessing, your user interface, the data processing, even though each of them can be considered as individual modules or individual components, but the entire system, it's only one system. It only operated as one monolith. If something fails, everything fails. So that is how, even though we had APIs, this was the monolith architecture that we had few years ago, 15 years ago, to converting to microservice architectures. Today, majority of the players are trying to move towards this microservice architecture where each of them can be deployed as a container. I'm not saying all of them have moved, but people have started seeing the importance of having it in containers and how quickly and how easily you can go about deploying your entire application. And in all these areas, APIs have been really helpful. So where you can have each of these components, your business logic or your data accessing, your data processing, data scheduling, or archiving, there can be different components, and all of these can run independently. It can run on its own in an individual container, and then you access it. So that is how it looks simplified, but it is not as simple as it looks. It is a complex structure. But this is the microservice architecture that is moving from monolith. This is being transformed to a microservice architecture. And if you have to talk about the API itself, even in a microservice architecture, the APIs plays a crucial role, because using the REST API itself, you can do a lot of other things that are required for your application development. You can use APIs to connect to your legacy systems. There could be some still that you could have some legacy applications. You need APIs to connect to them. You can have a web application. You can use the same set of APIs to connect to your web applications as well as to your mobile applications. Mobile first approach is what is happening. You can use direct APIs to your database, bypass your application, and also have a direct call with your data. your cloud-based services. To connect to all of this, the centerpiece is your APIs. And there can be a lot of holes, security holes, or the performance issues if you don't take care of them properly. So that's what we'll be covering in the later sections. But the crucial thing here is APIs are important, and people have started moving towards the mobile first approach. There are a lot of applications today which directly has only the mobile. Some of them don't even have a web application. But if you want to have a mobile, even the mobile first approach, or you develop mobile application, the back end is the API. You use API to get the data. So the mobile application is only as fast, as responsive as how your APIs responds. If you're going to have some problem in your API, that's going to reflect on your mobile too. So that is the importance or the crux of that we have to take care of with respect to APIs itself. So let's quickly move on to see what are the different layers in any cloud architecture. So I think all of us know about the application development. And when we talk about application development, be it a developer or a DevOps person or an operator or an IT administrator, whatever role you play, when we have a application and that's going to be on the cloud, it can be a web application or a mobile application. There are different layers, and these are the 4 different layers. The topmost is your end user layer, which comprises your browsers, mobile apps, and tablets using which your clients are connecting to your application. And I will say these layers, the intermediate connecting tissue of these 2 layers, or not just these 2 layers, among these layers is your API. You will use your API to connect your end user to application layer, to talk to your application layer. From application to platform, you again use API. From platform to infrastructure, you again use API. That's the connecting tissue. APIs forms the connecting tissue. The second one is the application layer, which is your software as a service, where actually the business logic is hosted. Most of the times we have to focus only on this and leave the rest of it to the providers who are providing that as a service. And then the next layer is your platform layer, which is platform as a service, which comprises of your caching servers, NoSQL databases, queues, and microservices. All of them form the platform layer. And connection from your application to platforms are again using APIs. Then the bottommost is your infrastructure layer, which comprises of your physical servers, your virtual servers, your cloud servers, your load balancer, router, switch, firewall, network. Everything is in your infrastructure layer. So what is important? This is a typical stack for any cloud architecture. And what is important is to know what is happening in all these layers and the connecting tissues. APIs have to be taken care. If your APIs are going to have problems, if your APIs are not going to be performing properly, if your APIs are down, if your API servers are down, all these, if your APIs are going to have some security loopholes, all these will definitely impact your entire application. Because a simple problem in any of this connecting API layer is going to bring down your entire system. It's on the cloud, things have to be working fine. And if there is going to be a problem in handling the user data, the security part is not handled properly, you're going to have major troubles with data leaks. We saw, the Buzzcorner, there were a lot of news about that. The importance is we cannot avoid it. See, people are moving to the cloud. We cannot say that I will not move to the cloud. I will just remain on premise and just be seclude myself away from what the industry is doing. Instead, what we should be focusing on is how do you make sure that you give that top-notch security aspect, whatever is expected. How can you do that in your design? How can you bring that? How can you tighten all your endpoints? Your APIs or the face using which solutions talk. So how do you make it? Could be your solution, or you could be integrating with some other solution, both import as well as export. How do you make sure all these endpoints are tightened? How do you make sure all the rules are defined properly? Those are some things which you have to be extra careful, so that you don't get yourself exposed to any kind of vulnerability. And for that, tools will definitely help. There are different tools for that, but there is no way of saying that no, there are problems, I'll just stay back. Yeah, we know the industry is like this. And what was surprising was phishing as a service. My God, we don't want that, right? So when such things are happening with respect to hackers, as developers, as application owners, we have to make sure how we provide that strong protection for the as a block, so that people don't enter into our system. And one of the entry point is APIs, which we have to take care. Let's move on to the importance of API. So I don't think I have to spend much time here because we all know the importance, but for the relevance of the discussion that we are having, I thought I will bring in the topic as well. So APIs actually form the backbone. They are the crucial element using which all the front ends connect. It could be any system. It could be your desktop, it could be your laptop, it could be your tablet, your mobile, or your watch, the wearable devices that are coming up, possibly your glass. Lot of newer technologies are coming up, but all of this connect to the backend web server using APIs. In which case, API monitoring and API management is very, very important. So that is the, remember or keep this in mind, APIs are the backbone for your application, and they are the backbone as well as the front door entry through which the clients are connected. So there has been while I was going through and preparing for this presentation, this was an interesting article that I read, and I thought it was relevant for the discussion that we are having today. There is this 2020 report from Globe's New Wire, where 400 different organizations from 40 different companies have been surveyed, and they found that almost 83% of people felt that API integration is critical for business strategy. You cannot say I will not have APIs. Whatever application that you do, you have to provide APIs, because people, they might have some other software in their system. They don't want, most of the times they won't replace. They would want to integrate with what is there in house, as well as your application should also have the capability of integrating seamlessly with other third parties. You cannot end up writing all your pieces by yourself. That's the beauty of API. You can coexist. You can work in existence with other components and focus only on your business logic. So API integration is critical. And 77% of people have felt that they have invested in API management. It's not sufficient if you just write APIs or take care of integrating with other providers available. You have to take care of monitoring them. You have to take care of managing them. So you have to invest some. It could be any type of investment. It could be your time. It could be your money. It could be your people resource. But investment in API management is important. And when we talk about APIs, what are the different improvements that it has brought in across the businesses itself? When you leverage APIs, what are the improvements that you will see in the various crucial different elements? There are different things that were talked about. I'm just talking the three important things. People have said that it has increased productivity. 59% of increased productivity. They have seen 43% direct increase in revenue because of the increased productivity. And 51% have said that it led to increased innovation. I need not be sitting and writing the same thing that is already available as a API with another vendor, with another provider, with another third party. If there is an integration option that is available, I can think how I can innovate on the idea that I am having, how I can bring in improvisation on the product that I am working on. So that has led to increased innovation. So these are all just points I thought it was relevant, which said, yeah, we have to focus on APIs. Quickly on the importance of APIs, there are some different pointers that I read through when I was referring to certain articles. So it definitely saves time. So it is not that when you use APIs, you don't have to keep writing it again and again. You can assure that you can do quickly. You can do faster deployments. And there is convenience. When you use APIs, you can just you need not use all the modules. If you want to do some sign in or sign in to your product, you can make use of, if I already have a Gmail account or I have another, I can sign in using my Facebook account. Those integration points are easier, and that is convenient to use. It is flexible. It's easy to use. You need not you're not very rigid and saying that I have to sit and deploy all the modules myself. You can make use of some authentication from another provider. You can make use of a payment module from another provider and get along with your focus on your product. Social engagements are easy. All of the products are taken to the social media as a powerful tool for your marketing and for promotions. You can have some small click and you can take it forward. Like you have a blog post which you want to post it in your Twitter page too. Just have a button by using your API integration. It will be automatically posted. Or if you have your not just social engagement, if you have a product where you get some alerts, it's a monitoring tool. Possibly, I'm giving examples of monitoring tools. You get alerts, and you want that alert to be reported as a ticket in your ticketing software. That integration is again possible if you have proper APIs to do that. Automation. All of these APIs, if they are automated, it'll help you in quicker testing of all the options that are available, all the modules that are available. Hence, it will help in increasing faster development and reducing your time to market. Reusable, of course, you need not sit and write everything again. Just make use of other components available. You can reuse the existing component any number of times, and you can also bring about some personalizations. I don't want to take all that you give and use it myself. I want to change some things in that. That is again possible. I'm sure all of us know about this, so I'm not giving details of all these things. So these are all just to stress the importance of APIs. And let's move on to observability. So when we talk about observability versus monitoring has always been a topic of discussion, or it has been debated. What is observability? What is monitoring? How? So I have a layered approach to say what is crucial. So the bottom layer for any system is observability. If your systems are observable, only then you can monitor them. If I have to say, take API itself as an example, you want to say in your API how many requests are coming in, and you want to know from which location these requests are coming in. Say for example, this very own Meetup, we give some URLs and you can sign in. You should have a UTM tag to find out if people have landed from this the link that we have given. So these are all the additional parameters that are part of the API. Only if your API has these metrics already defined, that's what I mean by observable. Only if your system is observable, you can monitor them. If the base is not strong, you cannot do any monitoring. If you don't have an UTM source defined, if you don't have the number of metrics that are going, that if you don't log them, if the number of metrics, number of people that log into your API that calls the API, you will not be able to do any monitoring on them. So the base is observability. Your system should be observable. Only then you can use any monitoring tool. Monitoring may not be a tool even. You can even use directly open the logs and see how many requests have come in, how many people have come in. Writing a simple script to find out that is again monitoring. It need not be complicated like using another third-party tool, but you need to monitor what you have collected. And that's the second layer. And the topmost or the next thing is, what do you do after you collect your data? If you are going to collect the data and keep it simply without doing any processing, there's no point in collecting the data at all. So what is important is analysis. With the data that you have collected, you must be able to make meaningful information, meaningful inferences out of the data that you have collected, and see to that helps in your work, that helps in your day-to-day activities. You are able to fix some problems. You are able to prevent some problems from occurring. So those are some things which have to be done on top of the data that is collected, the monitoring data that you have collected, and that is the analysis. So keep in mind, your system should be observable, on top of which only then you will be able to monitor them. And when you monitor and collect some data, make sure you do proper analysis. Meaningful sense out of the data collected is what is important. There is no point otherwise in just collecting the data and keeping it in some database. Only then you can help to improve your system. So that's about observability and monitoring. Let's move on to the pillars of observability. What are the pillars? There are 3 pillars, and these 3 are really, really crucial. And whatever we want to do will fall into these pillars. So that's how I will put it. I will talk in detail about those pillars in the further slides too. So there are 3 pillars of observability, and if you have to say them, the first is metrics. Metrics could be in any form, whatever data that you collect. We will talk in detail about all these 3 in the further slides, so I'm not getting into details here. The 3 are the metrics, traces, to find out exactly the line of code that is having issue. You need to know where the problem is. Is it in the database connection? Sorry, is it in the file system when you're writing, you're having a problem? Or is there a loop in your API call that is creating an issue? That could be, it could be anywhere. You need to know exactly where it is. So that is the traces. And the third pillar is logs. Logs play a crucial role. From the earlier days of programming, we have all been used to debugging only through logs. The first place you look at when you face a problem is logs. But how do you efficiently do it? How in this distributed world, how is it, or is it possible to take remote control of each of the systems to go look at what is happening? There are challenges. How can you address those challenges? So that's the logs. So we will focus on these three topics, the metrics. These are the three pillars: the metrics, the traces, and logs with respect to API. So when you do API monitoring and API management, what are the metrics that you have to be focusing on? It can be using any. First, let's look into what are the metrics, what are the traces, what does log do with respect to API, and then we will see how we can go about doing. How we can do can vary between using a tool or writing it yourself. Those are different. But let's first find out the crux of what are the things that we need to know why with respect to these three pillars. So achieving observability in your API stack, we will get into details of each of these pillars. First is the metrics. So when we say metrics, depending upon the system that is being monitored, the data that is collected, the metrics will vary. Now our focus is API. So when you talk about API, what are the metrics that you want to collect with your API? Suppose I have an API. We are talking about the REST APIs that can be accessed from across the globe. There is a separate server that is helping or that is serving all the API requests that are coming. So all those in a cloud environment, all those can be assumed. So what are the metrics that you want to collect? First thing will be about the availability metrics. So I have suppose I have a system, and I need to know, I have APIs. I have some 100 APIs. There can be any number of API requests that you have. So is your APIs are the crucial factors for your clients. All your clients, be it your any form of client, or your mobile application, or your integration with other third parties, are all dependent on your APIs availability. So your APIs have to be up and running all the time. And industry standards expect 5 nines. It's not just they are up for some time. It has to be up majority of the time. So industry standards have moved from 3 nines to 5 9, 99.999% uptime. That's the expectation from customers, and that's the expectation in the industry. So you have to make sure you are collecting availability metrics. I'm having hundreds of APIs in my application. You have to monitor to see all your APIs are up and running, because your APIs will be required for your login. Your API will be required for your what is that, browsing through your web pages on the various different products that you have in your web page, or various actions that are being performed in your application. And your APIs are important for final purchase, making payment, checkout. All these things are relevant for your APIs. All these things are important. So in which case they have to be up and running. All your APIs have to be up, and that has to be monitored. So that's the crucial thing. And the second important thing is nothing in any specific order. Everything is important, but I just numbered them. Okay. Performance of your APIs. How does your API response? How does your API perform? What is the response time of your API? That plays an important role, or that has a direct impact on your application's performance. Industry standards expects 2 seconds for your application to load. 2 seconds is what industry standards say, because none of us have the time or patience to sit through web pages or web applications that take forever to load. If you're doing some searching, if you're doing some search in any search engine optimization, we don't go to the second or third page. Just settle with the first page. All these factors, all these, the underlying factor is your performance. What is the response time taken by your API? That will define how quickly your mobile application responds. Suppose you are browsing through your mobile app, and you're looking into a particular screen. it might take forever to load because we don't know where the problem is. Suppose it is taking 8 seconds to load. You need to know exactly where the problem is. Is it the API that has given the response, or the API response itself is taking more time? All these are important. When you talk about API, when you have API's performance is crucial. Majority of the times we will feel that okay, it's just a simple API call. I'm going to give some request and I'm going to get a response back. What is there in that? How much time will it going to is it going to take? No, it will take. We have seen cases where each of your API will have hundreds or millions of there have been cases where millions of internal calls that have happened, and so there could be some looping, and so the response time is high. We want quicker responses, for which this is another metric for all your APIs, or at least your crucial important APIs. And it's not just one API. The sequence of APIs have to be monitored. We saw this if somebody is logging into your application and they have 5 different steps to do, the same 5 different steps is what will be done in your mobile app as well. You need to do the sequence. You need to know that each of the step is working fine. You have to ensure that none of the steps are failing and each of the steps are having better performance. So those transactions are also important, and that is also crucial for you to monitor. Those are the metrics that you need to collect with respect to performance. Number of times your API is being called, because when there is a huge surge that is going to come to your system, and people are going to purchase more on your page, you're going to be hit with huge number of requests. Is your system able to handle that? So all those have to be calculated and monitored, measured and monitored. Security, I don't think there is what is that? What to say? There is any more importance that we can say talk about security than this very own the Buzzcorner that we have had. Almost 50% of the news that we hear today were with respect to security. How secure is your API defines how secure is your application itself. The lot of parameters that are being passed in any of your API, are they all obfuscated? If there are any sensitive information, suppose you have a login API and you are passing in username password as parameters for those APIs, have you obfuscated those data? And how have you made sure that one user's data is not visible to other user? Have you done user sharding in your backend? Is your API, if suppose I give different users authentication, how does your API handle? Or there could be cases where we have seen that hackers would want to bring down your system. They will write a program and a loop, and they will spawn the APIs. Have you handled throttling in your APIs? So those are some things which you have to define clearly in your security XML. When you define in your security XML where you define all your APIs, you have to clearly state and segregate what is the throttling that the system can have. What is the timeout if there are going to be more requests that are going to come in? And the other crucial thing is your regular expression parsing. Have you clearly tightened your regex? That is very, very important, because most of the time when you have a regex, regular expression, as a where you just leave it open, there could be scenarios where people can pass some tens of thousands of combinations for your API. And those are the places, vulnerable places, where hackers will try to enter in using any of the holes that are available, and they will try to take hold of the system. You have to tighten those security measures in your security XML. Your security XML, keep 3 things in mind. They have to be defined clearly when you define your APIs, such that you have proper throttling. There could be cases where you can even have some IP restrictions. You know for sure if these are going to be from a particular IP or a set of IPs, there can be IP restrictions. There has to be throttling, there has to be IP restrictions, your regular expressions have to be clearly defined. And when there are hundreds of requests, the timeout between such hundreds of requests have to be defined clearly. Only if you take care of defining all these things, you can be assured that people don't get into your system through your APIs. So those things have to be, you have to define all these, but you have to at the same time collect all these metrics as well. You have to collect to see what are all the parameters that are being passed. Have I obfuscated all the parameters? Have I defined all the sources, UTM tags and other sources properly? how many times the request is being hit in a particular time period. So those are some things. One thing is defining, other thing is monitoring and managing them. So those are the metrics that you have to collect for your API with respect to security. Another thing is scalability. All of us, when in our business, we just don't want to settle with only catering to startups or SMBs. Our long term goal is enterprise. We need huge customer base. We need majority of people to use our system. So your API should be able to handle them. When you define your APIs, you have to make sure that you have scalability, both so that it can cater to enterprises, and you should be able to have your system defined in such a way that you can handle both horizontal scaling as well as vertical scaling. That could be scenarios, for sure that you're going to have a New Year sale or a Christmas sale or some festive sale, and you're given some discount, and you're expecting more people to land. Your system should be capable of having dedicated servers and just horizontally scale them. You can add more servers and your API request will still be successful. So your APIs have to be defined in such a way. Similarly, there could be scenarios where I know for sure some optimization has to be done in particular API. For a particular customer, it's taking more time because the volume of data that the API is processing is huge. But you can't go and rewrite it now. There could be situation where you may have to upgrade your mission, vertically scale them, and hence solve the problem of performance issues. But I will say that's only a stopgap factor. At any point in time, you need to know the difference between performance and scalability. Half the time or most of the time, we end up mixing those both and coming to a conclusion that if I put more number of servers, I can improve my performance. No, those two are different. We have to keep that clearly when we define our application, when we define our architecture, when we define our APIs. Because at a later point in time, we will find it very difficult to correct them if we have not done the design properly. So keep those in mind during your API designs and keep monitoring for them as well. Scalability have to be taken care. And as we saw earlier, the APIs could be used for both your private as well as your public cloud environment. So the hybrid or multi-cloud is what is existing, in which case you have to monitor all of this. Your same API will work for your private as well as your public clouds. And in public cloud, it could be multiple public clouds too. If you have an application or if you're coming up with the API that caters to all this, these metrics have to be collected properly and monitored properly. And the other important perspective with respect to metrics is it's not just sufficient if you collect all the metrics from only one place. Suppose you have deployed your system in KL, you have your database, you have your application, and you have deployed it in KL. But you have customers who are accessing it, like me accessing from India. There could be another customer accessing from Singapore. There could be another customer who's accessing from US. You have global point of presence. You have to make sure that your APIs, because as customers, I might use my mobile app to access your application, or my using web I can access. I should have the same experience like how you have as you have hosted it in your place. To ensure that, you have to make sure that everything is working fine. Your APIs, your API transactions, you have to for its performance, availability, all of that have to be monitored from all the locations where your users are there. So global point of presence is important, and it's not possible for you to have people in all these places and take care of monitoring your APIs, because there could be problem anywhere. My ISP could be an issue that is causing a problem for my API. You need to know them only using tools. So that is another metrics that you need to take care with respect to global point of presence. So these are all the different areas which you have to focus for your API monitoring and management with respect to metrics. Let's move on to the next one, which is traces. So what do I have to talk about traces? The metrics was about how many, it's all measurable units. What is the number of times the API is being called? What is my response time of the API? Or how many different transactions, how it has performed? Those are all the metrics that we saw. Now coming to traces, you know that your transaction or API is taking 8 seconds to load. There could be cases it is taking 30 seconds to load. We do have APIs like that. There could be some background transaction that is happening that is taking forever to load. The important thing with respect to traces is you need to know exactly where it is taking time, because from your web client to the client tier, the transaction traverses to your web app application layer, and then it could be to any of this. There could be some data collection happening, there could be some data scheduling or some data processing which fetches the data from the database. There could be something that you're writing in a file system. You can do any processing in your application, but you need to know across all these tiers where exactly it is taking more time. Suppose a resource is not closed, you have not closed the, when you are making a database call, you have not closed the result set properly. That's going to have a problem. Only if you know where the problem is, you can go about fixing them. Knowing the problem is half the way to fixing it. So that is possible all the way from your client, from your browser, when you type the transaction to you get the response back. There is a sequence of steps that is being happening. You need to know where exactly it is taking more time. We have seen practically even in our own applications where a particular single transaction has taken millions of method calls. I'm not exaggerating. We have seen it, millions of method calls. How you cannot test this, or you will not face this scenario in your development setup. This will come up only in your production setup when you have customers hardcore directly using them. How do you go about fixing them? Only if you know where it is taking more time, you can go about fixing, and tools will definitely help. In which case, the traces are crucial. The traces could help you to find out if it, the even component wise, is it because of a database? Possibly you have a lot of search and your database is not fine tuned to do all that search. You need to do some indexing, or you may have to replace it with another component itself. Those segregations you will be able to know only if you know the split up where it is taking time, and that is what we mean by traces. And more so in a distributed environment, in a microservice architecture, where each of these, this is an application where from login, I use another container or another vendor for authentication. I can use OAuth, I can use Google authentication, could be any authentication provider that I'm using, and then I do some processing. And for payment, I don't want to waste time in writing my own payment gateway. I will use a third party payment gateway. Now, each of these components can run on its own, and each of these components can be written in any programming language too. In such a case, when there is a problem, you need to know where the problem is. Which is the component that is having problem? Is it in the payment gateway? Is it in the authentication? Or is it in my code where I'm making a database call? So the distributed tracing across the microservice architecture is crucial, and there are solutions that could give this, and that is important when you look for traces. And when we talk about this microservice, the industry is actually moving towards serverless. I don't even have a server. All that I have is functions. I will just spawn the functions and move on. And monitoring that is even more crucial. Getting a trace in such an environment is even more crucial, or even more tough, which the vendors are trying to solve. So traces are important. The last section about the observability is logs. Logs, as I said in the beginning, that's the first thing that as a developer or as an operator, we go and look into when we face some problem. What you say is that, okay, somebody says that I have accessed it, I'll have to go and look into the access log to find out if that has really happened. I may have to go and look into the application log to see if there is a problem that has happened. But keep in mind, in this distributed environment where I have my application running across the globe, it is, I will not say it's not possible, it's actually tough. It's tedious for the person to take remote control of each of the machines and go look into what is the API, what is the response time, what is the problem, what is the exception, and what is the error thrown. That is going to be tedious. Why complicate? Why struggle doing that? Instead, there are log management tools. That's why it has become another pillar for observability that will help collect all the logs from across the servers. It could be any application that is running on any of the language that you know of. Collect all of them, do some real-time processing, and store it in such a way where you store it as metrics, or you properly index all of them. Technologies are available, and use analytic engine and then store it in such a way that it's easy for you to just query and see. Easily query and see, like, get me all the access logs between these two time frames from these two servers. In one console, you'll be able to see, you can find out what the problem is. That is how simplified, or that is how easier log management is nowadays. To put it in simple words, Converting my unstructured data into a structured data is what is log management, and there are tools to do that. That's why it's one of the important pillars of observability. Out of the box support for all the common applications that are available is what is provided by most of the vendors. Whatever standard applications are there, we know the standard applications log format. So it's easy for us to take and do it. And there are options for custom log format, which you can give based on your application, how you write. And those will also be collected along with the standard log formats. And logs not just help for looking into what the problem is, they are the important ones for auditing. In a distributed environment where we talk about security is crucial, auditing is important. You need to know these for audit trials. You need to know access logs, you need to know the application logs, your database logs, your network, from all the layers, from your end user layer, where you talk about access logs, to your application logs, to your network layer, what is happening in my network logs. All these are important for auditing. So log management is crucial, and not just for auditing. It will, in addition to auditing, it acts as an evidence when somebody claims that no, I've not done this change. You have some UI where a customer complains saying that somebody has made a change in my system. I think there is some problem in your system. A third party has entered and done some change. You need record. You need evidence to see who has done the change, which user has done the change, what change they have done, when did they do, what's the time they do. All these are important as evidence for you to prove to the customer that these are the things that have happened. Once things are in the cloud, these are very important to find out who has done the change, where, what, and when they do. The log management is crucial, and that's important, another pillar. So to put it in a nutshell, observability of your API stack itself, you need to know, you must be able to collect all the metrics that are relevant for your API. You need to know the traces of your API invocation, and you need to know the logs easily fetch from all the places to know where it is where the problem is, and do log management for all your API calls. All these three put together is what is observability of your API stack. This might look as a what do you say, as a complicated or a hi-fi terminologies. I need all these things. No, these are simple things that are relevant. You can use your own scripts to do this, or you can make use of any tools. But API management and API monitoring plays a crucial role. I just talked about what are the important things that you have to take care, and monitoring tools will definitely help you achieve API observability. So, in addition to those three, the pillars that I talked about, when you are selecting a monitoring tool, or when even in your own product which you want other people to use, I will say these three things are important. Look for eyes. I stands for integration, C for customization, E for extensions. Particularly with respect to APIs, these three plays a crucial role. So when you are as a developer, you write API, or when you as a developer or as a business owner, you're trying to make use of other tools, see if these three options are available. By integration, I mean integrability. There will definitely be in-house tools. So the tool that you are bringing in should be able to seamlessly talk with the tool, have import export options so that they work together. Even in the product that you are building, see to that you can integrate with other third parties, because the world does around with integration. People don't want to just write everything from scratch. You have integrations available at each part. You are an expert in one. Let me make use of it and do the integration. We all coexist. We will be able to focus on our point or our business and take that business forward. Customization. Nobody wants to use what you're giving out of the box. I want to make small changes. Even in your API, I want to make a change in the color of the button. I want to make a change in the label of the text. Or I may want to white label the solution. I don't want your logo at all. Make sure the tool that you're using have that option. Make sure you are able to give that in the product you're building, in the APIs that you are giving. Don't make it build it rigid. Bring in customization in it. And the third one is E, which is extensibility, which is particularly to do with the APIs. We are living in the era of citizen coders. People don't want to use whatever you're giving. I want to build on top of it and use it. So building on top of it, but still it should work. It should functionally work. Possibly give me options where I can drag and drop and build my own UI. Give me an API where I don't want the UI that you're giving. Give me only the APIs. I will take the data from your system, import it into my system, or do it in a way I require. That is the extensibility feature that people are looking for in the softwares that are available. See to that the tool that you're using has extensibility. The product that you're building should also have this extensibility feature. So look for ICE, I for integration, C for customization, E for extensibility. Okay, that I've almost come to the end of my presentation. Just give me 2 minutes. There are many monitoring tools in the market. Site 24/7 is one such tool that can help you with monitoring your API stack from all the layers that we talked about. I didn't get into the product details, but it can help in monitoring your APIs from a global point of presence and to get metrics, traces, and log management of your APIs. Site 24/7 can help. And it is not a new product. I think I talked about it in my earlier session too. It's a mature product in the market where we have been in existence for 15 years, and it's a product from Zoho. We have added on top of the platform or on top of each of the modules that we have, depending on what the customer requirements are. And we have given all the integration options that are possible, where you can integrate some third parties or you can have some chatbot integrations. All integration options are possible in the monitoring solution that we have. And we are hosted on Zoho's data center. Zoho Site 24/7 is a product from Zoho. Zoho has data centers across the globe, 10 different data centers in 5 different regions. In each location, we have a primary and a secondary data center, one in US, one in Europe, one in India, one in China, one in Australia. So you can choose your data center and be assured that your data resides within the geographical boundary of that particular region. Being a cloud provider, we do take privacy, security, and compliance very seriously, because that's very crucial if you're a cloud vendor. And we do adhere to all the standards that are available. We undergo strict audit. We do internally itself, we undergo a lot of strict audit to make sure that we don't compromise on any of these factors with respect to privacy, security, and get all the certifications that are required in the industry to be a cloud provider. So the key takeaways from this session are about the importance of API, the evolution of API, how it has changed, and the importance of the same. We talked about observability, its pillars, and how we can achieve observability in your API stack. What are the important metrics you need to monitor? What are the traces? Why traces are important? And how API logs are crucial, and monitoring them is important. And the other thing is, remember ICE, I for integration, C for customization, E for extension. Site 24/7 is one such tool among the many tools in the market that can help you in achieving your API observability. So take a screen grab of this picture of this page. We will also be posting this link in our chat in this session. So as a token of giving back to the community, you sign up using this URL, you get 6 months free subscription for monitoring your APIs or websites or applications or your log management. All that is possible. So feel free to try out the product. I've not gone into the details of any product description. You can contact us. We can arrange a demo if required. So I would like to just finish off with this quote. This is one of my favorite quotes, and this is called as the Red Queen's quote. And the quote goes like this: you have to be running as fast as you can in order to stay in the same place. And if you want to make any progress, you have to run twice as fast as you can. This is a famous Red Queen's quote in the book Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my favorite too. What it says is, it's important for you to keep updated so that you don't be outdated. In this fast moving world where technology is evolving in super fast way, it's important, as personally for us as well as for our products that we are building, to make sure that we keep them up to date. At Zoho, at Site 24/7, we do make sure that we look at the industry standards or industry trends and try to bring in all the new technologies into our product and make sure that we'll be able to pass on that benefit to our customers. So that's something that we do. And personally, also, I think that this is very relevant for us to stay updated and don't get outdated. Thank you so much for your time. I'm reachable through any of the social media platforms or through my email. And for any product demonstration, feel free to write to me or to the support email ID. We'll be happy to help you. Devan, you are on mute. I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yep. Sorry. So I was just saying that. Thank you. For giving a very informative talk. I think this is like beyond more than observability of the API itself. Like they covered end to end everything. Very useful. I think hopefully if there are any questions can you follow up more on with you if anything, right? So guys, if you haven't, thanks to them as well. They're giving out $224 of worth of free stuff. The link I will share in the comment. So I will share later on with the email blast as well. You can just go and sign up and try it out from your side lah. So and now back to the Q&A, right? So you ready for the Q&A? Let me try to bring. I think we have a few questions. So a couple of it. The first one. Okay, I'm not sure what this means, but he's asking that pillars of observability. What about events? Where does it stand?
Yeah, true. Events, the industry when it started, it just said about only these three as pillars, as metrics, logs, and events. But I mean, logs and traces and logs. But events are crucial too. That's not officially added as another pillar, but that is important. That's what the analysis part that I meant about. On top of the metrics that are being collected, you have to be able to send out alerts and do events. Events are crucial. Events stand as the fourth pillar, we can call it.
Okay, I think that's hope to answer him. And the next one, we have another one question, right? So to have observability is to go along each pillar as necessary. So is it a must to go with the pillars for observability part?
Not necessarily. It's more like it's a terminology. We need to know all these three. You call it by name of observability, you call it by pillar. That's not the crux here. The important crux here is when you have APIs, you need to know about what is the response time, how many times my API is being called, and when I know that my API response time is 8 seconds, where is the time being spent, what is the trace that is happening, and when I know my API is being called from different locations, what is the log that I have to look into. These are all the activities that are required mandatorily, and that's why it is called as pillars. It's not a hard and fast rule. These are the relevant required information when you have to do about API management and API monitoring, and that fits in perfectly as these pillars.
Yep, I think that's a very good answer. Okay, I think we have one more questions, and then after that I will ask questions. So if anyone know, if you guys still have questions, please drop in the comment. If not, I will hijack and I will start asking her the questions. So anyway, so based on this question, what are reference tools or services to have more observability?
So as I said, there are many tools in the market.
Similar.
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you can even write some script, and that can be called as a tool.
Okay.
But what
Yep.
you are monitoring or what you want to measure is what is important. And monitoring tools, there are plenty. One among them is I24/7. So just go
Yep.
search for monitoring tool, you get them, and all of them provide this observability concepts.
Yep. So I think I can add more on this topic, right? Since my day to day
Okay.
is as well as I'm doing observability.
True.
So, yep. So basically for observability, it actually depends on your organization and also what kind of your application as well. Like what kind of issue you have, like what you want a critical for you to observe. Certain issues the teams would like to observe is like observe more. It's focused on authentication, API calls, any bottlenecks on the DB, and also analytics part, right? So to do this, there's multiple of tools you can do. So some of it, the most famous one will be Elastic Stack, which is the open source one. And then we also have Dynatrace and SolarWinds. I mean, SolarWinds for monitoring mainly. And then we also have New Relic. So New Relic is one of the good one, right? But of course, some of it is very expensive too. So and
Yeah, there
it's
are
up
some
to
open source
yeah,
tools to free
open
tools.
source as well. Like
and
yeah,
and if you see today, actually things are moving towards when we talk about this API adopting API standards, people want to become vendor neutral. They don't want to be
yep,
sticking on to any vendor, and there are moving towards open telemetry standards. So that's
yep.
something next which we are also trying to support, so because customers are asking for them.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
please
talking
go
about
ahead.
open telemetry is quite important one, especially in the observability, right? So I think Uber have one of the library. I think it's a Jaeger tracing or something. So that's something. If you guys want to check it out, you can guys go and check it out. So it's based on Go, if not mistaken. Jaeger, Jaeger. So you just find the GitHub link and you guys can figure out more lah. So having said that, right? So now my questions. So my question would be like, I think the easiest one would be like based on the conversation we had and based on the Buzzcorner and we had earlier. Uh, how do we observe like for example like certain API are exposed to public and certain observability are private. Like if you how we identify it and how we tackle it. If for example any tool like you consider any tool, right? So how we identify and tackle it, you as a developer or you someone like outsider, like people coming in and seeing it, so how is it beneficial for them? I mean, so and I think it's one of the things is also this is the reason I'm asking is like a lot of APIs actually be integrated with third parties especially, right? So sometimes we just integrate it, we never know what happened after that, so we didn't like care enough much to do UAT or anything, or sometimes we do UAT after that just to get past, and after that we make changes and stuff like that. So you probably want to add something
Yeah,
like that?
so yeah, very valid question. So it is like most of the time as developers, when we write, we just write a lot of APIs. Even if you take APIs, we may not be using them at all. We don't do any review after that. We just, as you said, we just do some integration with, try some integrations and then leave it as it is. I will say it should more be from the, it should come from the culturally, the mind shift change itself. So once in a while, you have to go about reviewing them, particularly when you are on the cloud. Every there has to be some dedicated resource. At least that's what we do. Who reviews it. It has to be part of your review program. It's possibly in a mature product, you cannot go about rewriting everything. We will never know the first version, whoever wrote, why they wrote that, and why those APIs are even existing today. And it is important to go check if it is relevant. If not, how we can go about removing them. Lot of places, simplicity is the answer. So make sure, first thing, at least what I do is it really required? How do I bring it down? How do I bring it down? Make it simple, don't keep it complicated. Reduce if it is not required, reduce it. That will be applicable for even the metrics that you collect. As developers, we tend to collect all that is required, whatever product you're
Yeah.
doing. What is required, whatever you're going to show it in the client, whatever is going to be useful, only collect them or only store them. If you're not going to be using them, don't store them. If you're not going to be using them at all, in fact, don't collect them, drop them in the first place. So that has to be reviewed periodically. That is something that we have to do, because when we do a POC concept, we just pull in things, we do all the integrations. A lot of time we leave it as it is. If as the
Yep.
product matures, making sure that there is somebody who can review that. And if, it may not be possible to do a complete review of the product, but in your review process, when a new thing is being changed in an existing code, make sure you can review that portion of the code along with the new changes. So that is how slowly you will be able to bring in those reviews and keep in control of whatever changes you bring in.
Yep,
So
I
that
agree.
has to be brought into the system as a process. Possibly when you start, you don't do, that's fine, because that's how we want to see a working model. We just go ahead and do it. But as the product matures, you have to make sure you take care of all these reviews. Have some 1 month dedicated on, okay, apart from the customer queries and supports that you take care. If it is a product, it's a project is different. If it's a product, you are in control, you know things. Possibly you can dedicate some time for reviewing and taking care of security measures. The team can work on a week only for identifying security things. That's how we will be able to figure out a lot of issues in the product.
Yep, I think that's very well explained. I think the follow-up next question, right, on this part as well. One of the key of the observability actually, for every, I mean, like, that's if you, I mean, based on the, your answer as well, most of the time people think observability is also for meant for business, but most of the time if you show the data or the data or the visualization of the observability to the business side, they won't understand. Like they were like, "What is this?" So it's actually meant for more for the technical people, so you can understand your application better. That's one of
Correct.
the main point that a lot of people miss out actually. When you, especially when you try to justify to the business or and try to get the buy-in, right? Okay. Having said that, right? I think now come to the other question that one of the key of the for API, or especially for API, since our topic is on API, if you have a lot of APIs are sometimes be abused, open or private or what, right? You can actually monitor the usage. So how many calls are being made, and whether the calls are very abnormal kind of usage. So and then if kind of abnormal, you probably like observability will be able to tell you that before it's actually being on your system, or it's been like being escalated to a security issue or what, you will know ahead time based on the observability, and then you get uh, alert based on that, and you can do something about it before it get worse, right? So this
Yeah.
is one of the
So
advantage of the API. Yep.
to
I think
add
you
on
can
to
add
that,
more on that. Yep.
to add on to that, it will help you be proactive rather than being
Mm,
reactive after a problem comes in.
mm,
So your observability platform will help you. If you keep monitoring them, it can tell you this is the pattern, and I see a sudden anomaly. The tool can help you.
yep.
If your API is going to be hit only 100 times in a day, and you suddenly see it's being hit 500 times without having any sales or something, that's an abnormality. Your
Yep.
system may be able to handle it, but tomorrow when it becomes 5,000, your system will be down. So you
Yep.
will be able to, when you have the observability in place, you will be able to see that you can foresee a problem from occurring before it impacts your end customers and correct them so that your business is not brought down. So those are
Yep.
possible only if you have tools.
Yep. I think it also brings out another point, right? Which is based on the usage that you can monitor and everything, you actually able to save the cost for your resources based on the usage, because you can monitor and you can see which one you needed. Sometimes you realize there's a lot of API, but some of the API is not being used at all. So you can just might as well just kill it and save your
Correct.
resources money, right? Yep. So this is another advantage of the observability, especially for the observability side of the API, right? So do you have
Correct.
anything to add on that? But
Yeah, yeah, and the tools can also help you
mm,
with AI based automatically giving you insights on whatever is happening. It's not that you have to look into the tool all the time to figure out what is happening. Just
yep.
it can give you alerts or reports, automatically analyze and help with capacity planning so that you don't your resources aren't. A lot of times, most of at least 30% of the resources are underutilized. If you don't want them, you have to bring them down. You have to bring down the systems. So that will also be helpful with the tools.
Yep. I think actually that's pretty much my question. And also we
Okay.
come to the
Okay.
end, and we already have like, I think we don't have any more questions.
Yeah.
Do you have
So
anything
to
else to add?
yeah, just as a last point, there are many tools, as you said. We have been there in the industry, and one of the major reasons we are able to give at a competitive prices, we are a product-based company, so and we just want to pass it on to people. We do have enterprises who use the product, and we have just given 6 months free subscription. So if you are worried that you have to pay and see how to do that, you can make use of the free that we have given it.
Yep. I think thanks so much. I think I will share one more time the ticker. Give me a second. So yeah, so go sign up 6 months, 234 word of stuff. You can try out everything, and then if you find it is good for you, and you can try out. Usually, what I find is it's actually cheaper compared to the bigger brand. The branding the other brands out there. So I think it's good for if you want to get started, you want to try out how it works, whether it suits your application, whether everything, you can go and try it out as well. Yep. I think pretty much we come to that end. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thanks for very wonderful informative talk on the observability. So and I will see you hopefully soon, I guess.
Sure.
All
Thank
right,
you.
all
Have a
right.
nice day.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. So okay, guys, so pretty much we come to the end. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think nowadays, I think everyone's like back since we can go out and everything, eat. So a lot of people are out there enjoying, but so still follow the SOP, please. Keep it safe and order your vaccinated and stuff, right? And other than that, right? I think we have like since we already reached September, so I think we probably have 2 or 3 more months of meetup. December we will usually take a break. So and I think next month we already have a speaker, so we have 2 more slot, or 2 or 1 slot. If you guys have any speaker, or you guys want to offer yourself as a speaker, do reach out, and then we can plan out something out lah. And if it's an interesting topic, let's see how we can make it work for you guys. And other than that, if you got any feedback, we are always looking for feedback. Whether you see the format or whether you have any interesting speaker that you want, topics, or you want a different kind of host or what, just let us know lah. Right. And I think today's topic is quite interesting as well, observability. So what you guys need to take is like is being proactive. So you understand your application more better and better of your application, how it works and stuff. So that's what helps. And also, it's not only for APIs. It's actually you can do it for beyond an API, just the entire application itself. One of the issues like I think rate limiting. So rate limiting was used to be an issue as well. So a lot of people didn't realize the rate limiting because they just deploy it, but certain like services out there have a rate limit on your API. So they want to adjust that. So then if you have observability in place, you probably like can they see that it's actually reaching a limit, you can able to change before you actually reach a limit and user having a bad experience and start to curse you lah. Right. Okay. So I think that's about it for tonight. So it's already 10 o'clock and thank you so much. See you guys and next meetup next month. All right. Bye.